Capcom, you were playing with fire here. Now you got one of your guys talking about the Resident Evil 3, the Resident Evil Nemesis game. Because now that we've got a remake of 2, people want to remake a 3. Now, I've made a video a while back talking about wanting a Resident Evil 3, a Resident Evil Nemesis remake. But I personally didn't really care if it was a remake or a definitive edition or whatever you want to call it. My whole thing with this is very simple. Raccoon City is the actual backdrop in Resident Evil 3 Nemesis. My issue with Nemesis has always been the fact that Raccoon City has always seemed rather small. When you run through Resident Evil 2, you spend very small amount of time in Raccoon City. In Nemesis, you spend more time in the open city of Raccoon City. You spend a lot more time seeing the city for what it is. However, due to the time in which it came out, the city felt very small. The city felt very bland. And I don't think that was what Capcom, I don't think that was your true vision for Raccoon City. I mean, when you hear Raccoon City and you do the research on Raccoon City, this is supposed to be a big, vibrant city with thousands of people. And yet when you look at Raccoon City from the aspects of Nemesis and Resident Evil 2, it comes off as very small and very just... I think a Resident Evil 3 remake is necessary at this point. We have a better understanding of graphics. We have a better, much more wider amount of data we can use now. We have so much more to help Resident Evil 3 really bring Raccoon City to life. Much more than it ever has been before. Not only Nemesis can be redone and reimagined, but making Raccoon City the city. I mean, think about it. It's like with the Batman games, the Arkham games. You started off in Arkham Asylum. Arkham Asylum was a very small game in comparison to Arkham City and Arkham Knight. These two games expanded everything and made the world so much bigger. And being that, I want you to remember, we have games like Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild. We have games like Skyrim that have massive worlds. Now, I'm not saying you have to have a massive world that you make as a city. Fuck no. I'm saying you can have like a small, you know, like... Basically, if you were to blow Midgard up in Final Fantasy VII and make that basically Raccoon City, I would be happy with that. Only you wouldn't be able to have it as enclosed in. You would have to explore every nook and every cranny of that world, of Raccoon City. I think that's the biggest thing here, is we want Resident Evil 3 remake just off the simplistic fact that Raccoon City just always seemed like it was a tiny studio apartment when it should be this massive mansion. And, you know, I understand Resident Evil 1 is a massive mansion. Resident Evil 2, you're in a PD. But the third one is where the city came to life. And for me, it always seemed like the city just fell short. Just a little bit. Not by much, but just short of what I think the vision of Raccoon City is actually supposed to be. Now, Capcom, you were talking about it's on the fans if you even do this. Last game you said was on the fans for you to even touch was Legends 3. Mega Man Legends 3, yeah. And that still never happened. I would love to see Resident Evil 3 Nemesis get a true revision, remaster, whatever, and have this open city, just a massive open city, fully explorable. You know, making it really feel like it's alive. And making the danger seem more realistic. Because it is a city. It is a living city. It's a metropolis. You know, seeing that would make that would be like worth the price of admission. Because I've always loved Raccoon City in Resident Evil 3. I've always loved it. I've always felt like you never got to explore it just enough. Like they gave you just enough to satisfy playing the game from beginning to end, but they never made it truly enough as a Resident Evil fan, as a fan of Raccoon City. They never gave you enough. So Capcom, consider me one of the people who wants to see Resident Evil 3 Nemesis get redone and get Raccoon City its fair due. Okay? You don't have to change the story. You just have to change the world in which the story is in. And you don't even have to change the world. You're just presenting Raccoon City in a new light now that you have the technology and the advancements and all that to make Raccoon City an actual city. And you can even have before the virus outbreak of Raccoon City to give us a more in-depth, you know, like this is before the virus outbreak, and then after the virus outbreak it looks like this, and this is where you're at now. That would be incredible. I know it seems like a long shot, but that would. And I will continue to say this forever. Resident Evil 3 Raccoon City deserves its just dues because it is a good game. And it's a shame that Resident Evil 3 Nemesis is the only game in which we truly get to even see a small snippet of what Raccoon City truly is. So Capcom, make it happen. I didn't buy Resident Evil 2 Remake, but if you make Resident Evil 3 Remake, I'll buy it day one. Hell, I'll go pre-order it and have it reserved, special edition and all. Make it happen.